Welcome to Real World Real Estate, where we will explore, examine, and explain the real process of buying or selling real estate. Here is your host, Stephen Clyde.
Hi everybody, Stephen Clyde here with Team Clyde Realtors at RE/MAX Preferred RE/MAX at Cherry Hill, and I am your host of Real World Real Estate. Today we're going to talk about the selling process, determining which real estate market you're in as you get your house ready to sell. But before I dive into the selling process, I wanted to touch on a couple of our upcoming episodes that I'm really excited about. So we have an interview coming up with Brian McGroarty, who's with Core Title. Brian's in charge of business development over Core Title. I've been working with Core Title literally since the day they opened their doors, a little over 11 years. May not be customer number one, but I'm in the top 10. And what we're going to discuss with Brian is what the title business is, what they're doing for us, what is title insurance, what do all these searches mean, and explaining it down in detail so that everybody understands what the title companies do, or depending on what part of the country you're in, the escrow companies do, and what this insurance is that everyone that's ever bought a home has. And I would say 90+% have no idea what it is. They just paid the premium for it. And a lot of real estate agents would probably be very challenged to explain to you the details of what title insurance is and what a title company does. So we're looking forward to that interview with Brian. Very excited about that. Then we have a real estate attorney joining us for an interview to go through the buying and the selling process and the contracts and how that applies legally to everyone. And his name is Joseph J. Consul. He's the founding partner of Consul and Madison, and he's been practicing law for a little over 11 years with a full concentration in real estate investment, business law, and complementary estate planning process. I've known Joe for over 11 years. He's represented our clients. So we're real excited about that interview as well. He's a local boy, grew up here in South Jersey and currently lives over in Pennsylvania, but he practices real estate law in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. He's a member of both bars. So we're excited to bring Joseph in and explain some of the legal ramifications of entering into a real estate contract. And then we're also going to interview Sean Cloak and Jim Reed of Green Tree Mortgage. I'm very excited about this one as well. And we're going to be discussing in depth the pre-approval / pre-qualification process, what that entails, what the mortgage companies are looking for, how it applies to different mortgage programs, what's going on behind the scenes, why they need this certain information from you. And we're really going to dive into that so that when you decide to move forward and purchase a home, you know exactly what the mortgage company is going to require from you in order to get a good, solid pre-qualification, pre-approval from your lender. So we're real excited to sit down with Sean and Jim, and it should be an exciting 3 episodes we have coming up. Between title insurance, mortgages, and law, we're going to be covering an awful lot. And then also in the near future, we're bringing in some of my associates and colleagues from around the country in different markets so we can get a little bit more market update from Massachusetts to Florida, California, Texas, Chicago. We're going to cover all the major metropolitan areas. And over the course of, this podcast, we'll cover most of the states as best we can, even some of the outlying Caribbean, Hawaii, Alaska. The one nice part of being part of RE/MAX is RE/MAX is the largest real estate company worldwide. So I have colleagues that we work with in 132 different countries around the globe. So we can get market updates from just about anywhere. So we look forward to bringing you that as well. So stay tuned. Pay attention as we post these interviews. They should be very informative, and I'm excited to do them. And I'm sure everyone else will be excited to listen to someone else speak besides just me. And with that said, today we're going to talk about getting your house ready to sell and what that's going to entail. And I think for anyone that's thought about selling, the first thing you need to do, one, make the decision you need to sell and why you're selling and what the goal is for the next step, right? You can decide I'm going to sell, but where am I going when I sell this? Am I building new construction and I'm going to rent for a while till that house is ready? Or do I want to sell my current home and buy the next home the exact same day and move on one day? Why am I selling? What are my motivations and goals? Kind of like it's the same process similarly to a buyer, as you're going to go through your needs, wants, and wishes as far as your sale is concerned, because more than likely, I would say at least 3/4 or more of all sellers also become a buyer. So you've got to merge these two processes together. But I think the most important thing to do is determine what type of real estate market you're in your neighborhood, in your town, in your county, in your state. Right. So when I say that, you hear realtors talk about we're in a buyer's market, we're in a seller's market, or we have a market accumulation of 2 or a market accumulation of 6. And, what does that mean to you? How does that determine and how does that affect you as a seller? And if you're a buyer listening in, this will help you as well. So basically, when we're talking about market accumulation, it's an overview of the market, and we're assessing supply versus demand needs in the market. So it's an overview, and the figures represent, your county, your town, your neighborhood. We can dive all the way down to your neighborhood. Can't get down the street, but we can dive down the neighborhood. And what we're doing is we're looking at the number of available homes and the number of buyers purchasing a home in that specific area that we're running the data on. So how do we determine this? So what we do is we look over the last 12 months and we look at how many houses have sold on average every single month. So let's say in the last 12 months, we had 1,200 properties that went to settlement. So we divide that by 12 and we get an average of 100 homes per month that are going to settlement that are being sold. So if our current number of properties available for sale is 300 and we average 100 a month, so we divide the 100 and the 300 and we come up a figure of 3, which means we have a 3-month supply of homes when we take that snapshot, right? One of those homes is going to sell on day 1 and the 300th home is going to sell on day 90. That's also taking into consideration that no other homes are going to hit, right? That's as of that moment, that's an instantaneous snapshot of the market. Now, most listings are taken for around 6-month period. So we consider a 5-month or a 6-month supply of homes, 5 and 6, to be a neutral or a balanced market where we have the proper inventory in place to satisfy the buyers without creating a shortage. Now, anything above a 6, so if we have a 7-month supply or we have a 10-month supply, that becomes a buyer's market because now we have excess inventory and not enough demand. On the flip side of that coin, if that number is below a 5, a 4, a 3, a 2, a 1, then we're in a seller's market. Because now we have more buyers than we have available inventory to satisfy those needs. And this is something to look at closely. Now, this changes on an ongoing basis. This isn't, if I take a snapshot today, that doesn't mean 3 months from now it's the exact same number. It will fluctuate and change as the inventory fluctuates and changes, and as the buyer's demand for homes changes. So right now, if I look in my marketplace, which is South Jersey, so this will be Mercer County, Ocean County, Burlington County, Camden, Gloucester, Cumberland, Salem, where we leave the shore communities off. So if I look at those numbers right now, our inventory is down by about 64% right now. This time last year, we had 15,650 homes actively listed on the market. We had just about a balanced market. So that was a market accumulation of 5.2. So if you remember, a 5 and a 6, we consider balanced or neutral. Right now, the current inventory is only 5,826 homes. So now we have a market accumulation of 2.3. So we only have 2 1/3 months of supply available. That is extremely low. And it's actually getting worse because in June, we had a market accumulation of 2.9, right? We had 6,070 homes for sale. The other thing that we've seen, and obviously, I didn't dive into this, but supply and demand then drives price, right? So if we're in a buyer's market and we've got that market accumulation of 7 or 8, and we have excess inventory compared to the buyers that are going to settlement every month, well, that's going to force prices down because now buyers are price sensitive. They know they can negotiate. And if they don't buy your home, there's 5 or 6 other homes they can go look at. When we're in a seller's market, that forces pricing pressure to go up. So I've been out showing houses with some of my clients, and we've literally had to stand in line to get in the house to look at it. And there were 5 or 6 people in front of us to get in line, and there were 4 or 5 people behind us, all waiting in line to look at the same house the same day it came on the market. And that's because in that particular marketplace, our market accumulation was a 0.7. Right. So basically we had right around 3 weeks of a supply, not even a full month. We have no inventory. So what that's doing is that's driving the average sales price up. So in July of 2019, in my market area, the average sales price was $224,000. Today, when we take that snapshot with that market accumulation of 2.3, the average sales price is $267,700. So we got a $43,700 increase in the average sales price over the last 12 months, which is huge. We've also seen a drop in the days on market because obviously there's not enough inventory. Buyers are grabbing them up quickly. So we're not staying on the market that long anymore. Whereas some areas may have had average days on market in the 93 range, 93 days on market was average. Now we're looking at places where in some places it's judged by hours, but we are seeing realistically in the 32 to 33 days on market. So that's been reduced by 2/3. And again, that comes down to the total lack of inventory out there. Huge buyer demand, low interest rates are driving it. There's a lot of market factors coming into this, from population growth of over 15%. And I spoke about this previously in one of my other episodes. We can't keep up with housing inventory to match the population growth. And now I shouldn't really say post COVID-19, but as we're transitioning into our new normals of COVID-19 and the coronavirus, we're seeing an exodus from the city centers. So we're seeing people leaving the cities and the major metropolitan areas and making a flight to the suburbs because they realize they need more space to work from home. They want outdoor space in case they're quarantined again. And being quarantined for several months in their apartments or townhomes in the city, they realized they didn't have enough space. They didn't have enough outdoor space. They didn't feel safe. They didn't feel comfortable. Whatever the reasons are, they're making a flight to the suburbs. The other phenomenon that we're seeing, which is a byproduct of COVID-19 and the coronavirus, is that a lot of major corporations now are adjusting their workplace to be permanently work from home. Well, now we have buyers that are entering the marketplace that don't have to be within 30 minutes of the city center or near a rail line or near public transportation. They can live anywhere they want because they're going to work virtually anyway. They just need an extra room, a den, an office, or a finished basement so they can do it. So they don't have to worry about commuting to Lower Manhattan or Midtown or Center City, Philadelphia, or anywhere in San Francisco. And one of the markets that's really seeing an impact from this is what was one of the hottest real estate markets in the country for 10 plus years, which is the greater San Francisco area, the Bay Area, where the rest of us are all seeing major drops in inventory. They're seeing a huge increase in inventory. Their inventory is actually up 18%, whereas our inventory is down over 60%. And that's because all those major tech companies have come out and said, nope, you can work from home permanently now. You don't have to report back into the campus. So they don't have to live in the high-priced market of San Francisco. They don't have to rent there anymore. They can live anywhere they want. They can still stay in California and be 3 hours away from the campus, get twice as much home as they were getting in the Bay Area, And as long as they get that home office so they can work virtually, they're good. They can move to Boise, Idaho, or South Jersey, or Kansas, or Texas, or Arizona, or Florida, or wherever they want now. They're opened up. They're not handcuffed to being in the Bay Area so they can commute to work. So those things being said, let's talk about putting your house on the market. All right. So first you want to sit down and figure out why you want to sell, right? Did you realize that, hey, I need the extra space for a home office, or, I can get more square footage now because I can work virtual. My family's growing, my family's downsizing. We're empty nesters now, so I don't need the 4-bedroom Center Hall Colonial anymore. I can downsize to something else. So everybody's needs and wants for that are different, but you need to determine that. And then once you determine why you're selling and what your ultimate goal is, now you want to look at selecting and interviewing professionals. So this is similar to a buyer selecting an agent. One, you want to look for a referral. Did you have a good experience with the agent and the realtor that helped you purchase your current home? Have they stayed in contact with you? Have you been talking to them? Did you develop a relationship? Do you want to go back to them? Now, there was a report done a few years ago by the National Association of Realtors that said that 84% of buyers were satisfied with their experience with their real estate agent. But due to the lack of communication and follow-up, 30% of them don't even remember that agent's name, even though they were satisfied and happy. They don't remember who they were. And most of them do not go back to that other agent due to lack of communication and follow-up and staying in touch. So if you did have a good experience and, you've been in touch with that agent, while you've owned the home, then that should be the first person you reach out to. Second would be touch base with friends and family, right? Who did they use to buy or sell a home? Were they happy and satisfied? And interview those agents. And the third one is look at your neighborhood or the market you live in. And is there one agent that is dominating that market, right? They're selling over 20% of all the homes that come on the market. Well, they know your neighborhood probably better than anyone else. And most times they have buyers already lined up for that area because that's their market concentration point. So that's where you want to set up your interviews. And you want to have at least 3 interviews. And you want to sit down with these agents and discuss their background, how many transactions have they done, what kind of support staff do they have in place, what is going to be their communications moving forward. So with our team, we communicate every Tuesday with our sellers. So we give an update as to what happened the weekend that just finished up. And we give a report of what we've got moving forward for the coming week. That's an ongoing process. And then email updates as they come available from feedback from agents or from changes in the market, or has our competition changed? Is the market adjusting and we need to make an adjustment? We pass all that on. So we stay in constant communication. So that's one of the conversations you want to have with them. Are they using a professional photographer? What does their marketing plan look like? Are they using digital media? Are they going to be heavy in social media? How are they going to handle the showings and the schedulings? Basically, what is their resume? What is their marketing plan for your home? What are they going to do and spend to get your home sold? And what's their track record? One of the main questions you want to ask them is, what is their average ratio sales price to asking price? And how many days on market do their listings average, right? And then compare that to the overall market. If you see that most of the homes in your neighborhood are selling for over asking price, and they're doing it in less than 30 days, and you're interviewing an agent that's only getting 90% of their asking price on average, and their average days on market for their listings are greater than 90, this may not be your optimal agent. But like I said, interview at least 3. Interview them. I wouldn't base your decision off the list price they give you. really, really good agents that are well experienced and have a good knowledge in the business and are true professionals. They all should come in very, very close to each other as far as where they want to list your home, right? So if we're talking, a $300,000 home, agent one may be at 297, agent two might be at 305, agent three might be at 300. But if you've interviewed two, and let's just say we've got a 297 and a 302, and then when you're interviewing the third, they come in at 350, that should be a red flag. Because the other two have already told you this is the market. You've got two professionals confirming the numbers, right? There's a slight variation, but it's not huge. And then when someone else comes in with an astronomically high number, we call that buying the listing, right? So that's an agent that's going to give you a number that makes no mathematical sense, but he's going to try and lure you in to sign with them over anyone else. And then in 30 days, they're going to come back to you and ask for the big price reduction and get you back down to 300. So again, don't make your decision off the valuation the agent gives you. Make your decision off of their criteria. This is no different than interviewing a physician, an attorney, an accountant, right? What's your background? What's your experience? How many times have you done this? What's your team look like? What's your support system? What's your marketing plan? And what's your communication plan with me moving forward? And also ask, do you have any references I can call? They should be able to give you past client references specifically in your market that you can touch base with and confirm that these things they're talking about are true. All right. Once you've selected that agent, now you want to walk through with that agent and see what changes you need to make to your house to make it the most valuable and the most attractive to a buyer. Because even in a seller's market, and an extreme seller's market like we're in my market, right, where we're 2.3% market accumulation, only 2.3 months of inventory available. If you're not a nice house, if you don't show well, and I'll go into what I mean when I say show well, you're not going to sell in the time frame that everybody else is going to be. Some of these things that you're going to want to do are pretty easy, and I consider them common sense, but I'm going to go over them anyway. One, you want to declutter immediately. The way we live in a house and the way we sell a house are two completely different things. But everything needs to be away. Everybody needs to be neat and organized. You can't have piles on top of the refrigerator, on top of the counter, or piles of clothes in the corner, right? Beds have to be made. Bathrooms have to be cleaned. Toothbrushes put away. Toilet seats down. It's kind of sad that I have to say that, but you'd be surprised at things we walk into when we show houses. But you want it to be a welcoming experience for a buyer as soon as they walk in the door. Buyers are going to make that decision if they love or hate your house in the first 30 seconds. So your first impression is your most important impression. So make sure you have it right. Walk through with your agent. Listen, if you haven't painted your house in 12 or 15 years and the paint's in great shape, you're going to want to look at it and repaint and come in at current colors, touch up. Even if you are painted current colors, you're going to want to go back and touch up, right? Because the house is lived in. It gets a little wear and tear. You're going to want to touch that up. And again, make sure that it is in pristine condition. So everything goes away. We freshen up the paint. Thin out our closets, right? This is a huge one. The house is going on the market right now, right? We're in the middle of July. You're going to sell in the next 60 days and you're going to go to settlement before Labor Day. You know what? Let's pack up all the winter clothes. Let's thin out the closets, pack up our winter clothes, and either move in the storage or in the garage or in the basement in nice plastic containers, organized and, looking organized so that we look like we have more closet space, right? And not everything's jammed in there. You want to do the same thing in our kitchen cabinets and our pantries, right? We don't want to go to Costco or BJ's and load up on a 2-month supply of soups and cereals and whatever it may be and jam everything into the pantry and the cabinets. We want them to look like they have plenty of space in them as well. So let's keep that down to a week or a 2-week process. Make sure your floors are clean. If we have carpets, let's get them shampooed and cleaned. If we have hardwood floors, let's have them touched up and cleaned and really, refreshed, right? We don't have to sand them and refinish them, but let's get them fully refreshed. Let's walk around the outside of the house. Let's weed all the beds, trim the bushes. Maybe we change the shutters or paint the front door, or let's really pump up that curb appeal. Because again, a buyer is going to make their decision in the first 30 seconds. And that's going to account when they're walking from their car to your front door, right? So if there's stuff thrown all over your front lawn because the kids didn't pick anything up, or your shrubs are overgrown and they haven't been pruned in a year and a half, and there's weeds and you haven't mulched in the last 2 years, that's not going to bode well for you. So these are the things you want to do. Basically, I want you to go online, look at photographs of different houses, and you'll be able to tell the ones that stand out and did everything they were supposed to do. But we tell all of our clients that paint is cash in a can, right? A gallon of paint is less than $40. It can make a drastic change to your home. It can make your home stand out, and it can make you thousands of dollars when you start looking at offers. The other one is make sure all of your lights are bright, right? Compact fluorescents, if you have them, I highly advise you change them out. They take a little while to warm up and get to their full brightness, and that's going to cause the house to look dim and dark, which is not going to be inviting to a buyer. So before a buyer walks into your house, you want it bright, airy, welcoming, spotless. Everything is clean. Everything is away. There's no dishes in the dishwasher. The sink's clean. Everything's off the countertops and the table, and you're ready to go. I want you to think about it. Your boss or someone extremely important to you is coming over to visit. That's how you want the house to look, right? I know the word clean is a relative term and everybody has their own definition of it, but you want to take it to a whole nother level of clean, right? I don't know what your level is or your definition, but again, you want to make it like the president. Oh, I'm not going to use the president. It's too divisive, but, someone very, very important to you is coming over to visit and you want to put your best foot forward, right? Your boss is coming and the way your house looks is going to determine if you get a promotion or not. Now, once you have that ready, you want to work with your agent. And this is a non-negotiable item. You want to make sure they're hiring a professional photographer to take the photographs and the video tour of your home. You don't want it to be their assistant or someone that works for them or them. You don't want it done with their cell phones. I know the new phones have amazing cameras and they do a great job, but there's something to be said for a high-end professional camera and getting the lighting right, getting the angles right, not overusing a fisheye lens because it looks really, really stupid online. So you want professional pictures and you want a lot. The more, the better. All right. You want to present everything in the best light. And then you want to make sure that before your house goes active, it's got a compelling description that's accurate. You've got plenty of photographs. I would say a minimum of 40, but if you can go higher, that's great. The more, the better. A video tour, right? Absolutely required nowadays. A virtual matter tour, 3D tour through the house where somebody can actually walk through the house. Very important now, especially as we come in and out of lockdowns and quarantines. If we have the 3D virtual tour that somebody can virtually walk through your house, they can see your house and make a selection on your house before they even walk in, right? You also want to discuss with the agents, how are they going to handle COVID-19 and coronavirus? What do they have in place to deal with it? Now, I'm going to tell you with our listings, we have hand sanitizer in place. We have sealed individual packets of every packet has 2 gloves, alcohol wipes, and a mask, right? They're out for everyone that enters the house. And then there's a trash can present for the used stuff to be put in, right? Then we also have sanitizers there. So when they take everything off, they can sanitize themselves and then they leave. The other thing that we advise our sellers to do is before they leave, make sure all the lights are on, kitchen cabinets are open, closet doors are open. The less a buyer has to touch while we're in this process, the safer everyone's going to be. Absolutely make sure that when a buyer shows up to see your house, that you are not there. That is the worst thing in the world you can do, is for you to be present while a buyer is with their agent looking at your home. Buyers won't be open in communication with their agent. They're going to feel uncomfortable. A lot of them want to rush out because they don't feel comfortable being around you. And they won't bring up objections to their agents or issues because they don't want to insult you because you're there. And they may be things that could easily be overcome or explained or dealt with, but they won't even come up. Your house will just be pushed to the side and then move on to the next one. So you want the lights on, you want it bright, you want everything there to protect you for health reasons, right? But you do not want to be present, right? You want to leave. You also want to make it as easy as possible for those other agents to schedule those showings, right? In my market, we have a call center that set those up for us so that if I'm busy recording a podcast or a meeting with one of my clients, they're contacting our appointment center. And the appointment center is contacting our clients to schedule the appointment. But I know it's a pain. I know it's a hassle, and I know it can be so inconvenient. But the less restrictions you put on those showings, the faster your house is going to sell and for the more money it's going to sell. More restrictions you put on, the longer it's going to take to sell and the less money it's going to sell for, right? Because when we, just make it as easy as possible. Obviously, we can't accommodate everyone all the time. You may have a commitment with your family or a work commitment, and there's no way you can make that time work. Let the agent know, or let your appointment center know, or your listing agent know, and let them reach out to the buyer's agent and get that rescheduled at a time that works for everyone. But again, don't make outlandish, crazy requests. Don't put huge restrictions on it, because your goal is to get as many people through your home in the shortest period of time possible to get the highest amount of money for it. So the more you restrict it, the less people we get in, the longer that time frame takes. All right. You also, when you're meeting with your agents and you're doing those selections, how do they handle negotiations? Who handles negotiations? Who are you going to be talking to during the process? So if it was with my team, everything about showings and schedulings or setting up appointments and everything, that goes through my admin, Gabrielle. Anything that has to do with negotiating the home inspections, negotiating price, material aspects of the transaction, that's 100% me. All right. That's a conversation you want to have. You want to set expectations with your agent so that you're both on the same page, so that this becomes as seamless and smooth a process as humanly possible. It's going to be extremely stressful, and things are going to get wrong, and there's going to be hiccups along the way, but you want to make sure that the person you're working with has the systems and the support in place to minimize those hiccups and those issues, because it is extremely stressful. It's one of the top 5 stressful things you can do in your life. And then you need to be setting up, searching for movers. Does the agent you're selecting, does he have contractors he works with in case something comes up during the home inspection, so he can manage and handle getting that taken care of for you? How far does their service go? Once you've had all these questions answered from, again, a minimum of 3 of them, then sit down and see, okay, agent A, B, and C, they're all pretty close. They all have the same systems in place. Now it comes down to relationship and comfort. Who did I like? Who do I feel comfortable with? Right? This is important. This is probably your largest asset. It's going to be one of the largest transactions you're involved in, right? So a comfort level, how that relationship works between you and your agent is extremely important. If you guys are oil and water together, it doesn't matter how great the agent is or how great your house is, it's going to be a really bad experience. So you guys want to be able to work together seamlessly, not just with the agent, but his support staff and everyone else. It has to work, right? This is no different, again, than selecting an accountant, an attorney, a physician, right? There's got to be, you have to click and you have to like each other. So let's recap this a little bit, because I covered a lot in the last 30 minutes or 35 minutes. So again, you want to look at where your market is right now, what type of real estate market you're in. This is a conversation you should have with those agents as you're interviewing them, right? You want to set up your agents for your interviews, right? So start with the agent that you originally used, as long as you're in communication and touch with them and you like them and you feel confident with them. Reach out to friends and family and find out who they feel comfortable with and who they trust. And then look who's dominating your marketplace, your neighborhood, your town, and definitely sit down with them. Then go through the interview process as we talked about. What experience do they have? How long have they been doing this? Do they do this full time? Right? Because if you listen to any of the other episodes, you're going to know that I am not a big fan of part-time agents. Right? This is a profession. It's a serious profession. It's a complicated process. So having someone that works another job, 8 hours a day, how are they going to handle the aspects of the sale of your home when they're doing their other job? So full-time agent, do they have a support staff? Do they have a marketing plan? What is their track record? How many homes have they sold? What are their references? Go through all that. Walk through the home with them. See what their guidance is as far as should you paint, declutter, do we restage the house? What do they think is going to get you the most money for your home? And again, then start settling in on the price. And again, if you're interviewing 3 or 4 really good agents that know their market, those numbers should all be relatively close to each other. Remember, the outlier, the one that doesn't match the others, is the one you're going to kick to the street. All right. And then go through your house and make sure it's clean and spotless and organized and decluttered. Make sure you're ready for showings, which means that every morning when you wake up, bed has to be made, kitchen has to be clean, bathrooms have to be clean, towels hung, ready to go. You want the house to look good, smell good, and be bright and welcoming. Make sure the outside is ready to go. Your planting beds are mulched. You've weeded, the grass is cut, the hedges and the bushes are trimmed, and it looks good from the street. All right. Get that going. Set that up. That's your agenda for getting this process moving. If you're in a part of the country that we don't cover, which is anywhere outside of South Jersey, feel free to message us on Facebook or Instagram, which is at Team Clyde Realtors. And we have colleagues that we work with around the country that we can set you up with that are top producing professional full-time agents that have everything in place that I just covered. Otherwise, we look forward to talking to you moving forward. We've got those exciting episodes coming up. The interview with Sean Cloak and Jim Reed on getting a mortgage pre-qual and pre-approval and what that process looks like. Joseph Console, real estate attorney, and talking about the legal aspects of real estate and purchasing. And Brian McGordy with Core Title and talking about what is title insurance. So we've got some really exciting episodes for you coming up. I can't wait to bring those to you. And otherwise, everybody have a great day. Stay safe, practice your social distancing, and I'll talk to you on Thursday with our market update.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. If you would like any additional information, please contact us at Team Clyde Realtors on Instagram or Facebook, or you can send us an email at Steven@TeamClyde.